लगी चैन सुई रहना, नींद लगी चैन सुई रहना.
Don't stop the jamming, we can't stop the jam. Don't stop the jamming, we can't stop the jam. Any man can hold a girl on a Saturday night. Any man can hold a girl on a Saturday night. Oh, what a night, what a night, what a Saturday night. Oh, what a night, what a night, what a Saturday night. Any girl can grab a man on a Saturday night. Any girl can grab a man on a Saturday night. Oh, what a night, what a night, what a Saturday night. Oh, what a night, what a night, what a Saturday night.
मुरित सुरजे के दोई दोई महलिया.
Don't stop the jamming, we can't stop the jam. Don't stop the jamming, we can't stop the jam.
मुरित सुरजे के दोई दोई महलिया. सबसे सुंदर हमारो महला. चौड़निया चादर बिछाओ भरमा. नींद लगी चैन सुई रहना, नींद लगी चैन सुई रहना. चादर बिछाओ भरमा, चौड़निया चादर बिछाओ भरमा. नींद लगी चैन सुई रहना, नींद लगी चैन सुई रहना.
Don't stop the jamming, we can't stop the jam. Don't stop the jamming, we can't stop the jam. All day, all night, Miss Marianne. Down by the seaside, she's singing song. All them little children love Marianne. All day, all night, Miss Marianne. All day, all night, Miss Marianne. Down by the seaside, she's singing song. All them little children love Marianne. All day, all night, Miss Marianne.
मुरित सुरजे के दोई दोई बन्हलिया.
Don't stop the jamming, we can't stop the jam. Don't stop the jamming, we can't stop the jam.
मुरित सुरजे के दोई दोई बन्हलिया. सबसे सुंदर हमारो भरमदा. चौड़निया चादर बिछाओ भरमा. नींद लगी चैन सुई रहना, नींद लगी चैन सुई रहना. चादर बिछाओ भरमा, चौड़निया चादर बिछाओ भरमा. नींद लगी चैन सुई रहना, नींद लगी चैन सुई रहना.
You think we don't? You think we don't? Shazzy. The music hot, mama. Oh, the music hot, mama. The music hot, mama. Shake it, shake it hot, mama. Rock me to the left, darling. Rock me to the right. If we rock all night, baby, make us feel alright. The music hot, mama. The music hot, mama. The music hot, mama. Shake it, shake it hot, mama. Warrior, linking up with Shazzy. Yeah, man. Singer.
चादर बिछाओ भरमा, चौड़निया चादर बिछाओ भरमा. नींद लगी चैन सुई रहना, नींद लगी चैन सुई रहना. चादर बिछाओ भरमा, चौड़निया चादर बिछाओ भरमा. नींद लगी चैन सुई रहना, नींद लगी चैन सुई रहना.
Don't stop the jamming, we can't stop the jam. Don't stop the jamming, we can't stop the jam. Any man can hold a girl on a Saturday night. Any man can hold a girl on a Saturday night. Oh, what a night, what a night, what a Saturday night. Oh, what a night, what a night, what a Saturday night. Any girl can grab a man on a Saturday night. Any girl can grab a man on a Saturday night. Oh, what a night, what a night, what a Saturday night. Oh, what a night, what a night, what a Saturday night.
मुरित सुरजे के दोई दोई महलिया.
Don't stop the jamming, we can't stop the jam. Don't stop the jamming, we can't stop the jam.
मुरित सुरजे के दोई दोई महलिया. सबसे सुंदर हमारो महला. चौड़निया चादर बिछाओ भरमा. नींद लगी चैन सुई रहना, नींद लगी चैन सुई रहना. चादर बिछाओ भरमा, चौड़निया चादर बिछाओ भरमा. नींद लगी चैन सुई रहना, नींद लगी चैन सुई रहना.
At least somebody, thank you guys so much. Thank you all for letting me know that you weren't hearing me, and I was basically saying that right here on 107.1 FM, we exercise tolerance of people's religion, people's culture, people's everybody's music. It's a mix of music, and there isn't anybody in Guyana who would say that they do not appreciate other people's culture, their neighbors, and so forth. So we just had that little chutney there while we prepare to have our folks on. We have a pack house tonight. Some of them are in hiding, some of them already here. And so we just thought we give you that nice little chutney, which is a beautiful, beautiful song that many of you should know. And so I saw somebody said, enough chutney. No, we don't operate like that here. And that's what I was saying while the mic was muted. You know, Lemon will have to pay for that. But tolerance, if we want to beat the corrupt PPP regime, then we have to have tolerance. I appreciate everybody's music, everyone's culture. I grew up that way. And so that is what this show is about. It's not a one-sidedness. And when the PPP practices one-sided politics, then some of you get vexed because you're intolerant to that. But then when it comes to other people's culture and music, then you also become intolerant to that. It doesn't happen here at all on 107.1 FM. Sherwin Green is in the house. We can never get enough. That's right. And you know how we do it at our backyard stuff, Sherwin. We haven't done that in a while, since probably, for me, COVID-19. But we've got to get back to those sort of nice hang. Tonight we have some folks, and that's true, Brenda. They got to be tolerant. The PPP, Jack Deere and all, they're not tolerant. That's why we need a government, just like the APNU AFC coalition, where we saw that tolerance level. It was there. People's religion, people's politics, everything respected, not under this corrupt regime. So tonight we have packed house. Attorney at law Shellon Washington. She's not yet with us. She will be. We have Wayne Caesar. I'm not sure if you guys remember him from last night. And then we have Shoy Gibson. She's here. She's in the backstage, and Lemon is ensuring that everything is okay so that we can see Miss Shoy Gibson. We're not seeing her right now, and so we're hoping that we will get to see her via video. We also have with us a man from Linden. He's well known. He used to sell cookrit and cassava bread. And somebody's volume is up. I think I have an idea. Could be Theodore. Yeah, I think it is Theodore. He's all excited. This is. Then again, maybe it's not Theodore. Yeah. Hi. Yep, it's coming from you know who. Mr. Wayne Caesar is something is on and it's echoing. But I just wanted to give a warm welcome to Theodore. It's his first time on the hottest and the biggest show out of Guyana. And I say that without any apologies. It's a fact. Theodore knows that. Theodore grew up as a little boy watching this show while he was operating at Adams Boat Landing. Took a lot of coins from a lot of people, got rich, and decided to migrate to the U.S. We also have with us Mr. Wayne Caesar, no stranger to you guys. Went out, he bought a nice tie for this program tonight from Bobby's. It's good to see all of our guests here, and they are friends. Theodore Adams Jr. from Linden, Wayne Caesar from Pleasance, and we are awaiting Shoy Gibson to show her face. We are not doing audio. We got to see people's face tonight. Ms. Shellon Washington is running late. There will be some penalty for that. Um,
Supposed to.
you guys
Oh,
share the audience. Miss Gibson, good evening.
good
How are you?
morning. Good evening, everybody.
Yeah. Mr. Caesar, I didn't say good evening to you too, sir. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Mark,
Good.
and good evening to the panelists and also to our
Yeah.
listeners and viewers. A
So
pleasant good evening to everyone.
good evening. Good evening. Mr. Adams, how are you, sir?
Yes, good evening, Mark. It's always a joy
Yeah,
and
if you can
pleasure.
please put on your linen. I know linen folks, they have soft voice, especially those from the Ali and the valleys and Poker Street and so forth. When you operate your boat and you knock that iron stuff, you don't talk so soft. Come on.
You
Good
shout for
night, sir.
both, right? You shout for both.
Yeah.
You hearing
Tell,
me
tell
clear
us
there now? Just
tell
want
us
to
how
say
you
good night. Good night to each and
yeah.
everyone. It's always a pleasure to be with you, Mark. I think I've been with you before in the earlies. We had a couple of wranglings.
You
You
got
know.
you got to be careful when you say you've been with me. You got to be
Oh yeah,
careful
yeah. Well, I've been on the show. I've
on the
I've
show.
been I've been on the show before. In the earlies, in the
Thank you,
earlies.
thank you. So you did
Yes.
mention that you usually have to shout boat. Back in the days, and especially with Wayne Caesar, I can put my head on the block that Wayne has never gone to Linden. Never. Am I correct, Mr. Caesar?
You're absolutely correct, Mark.
And
Absolutely correct.
there are quite some folks in the audience who have never gone to Linden as well. How do you guys shout boat? Let's hear this boat. How do you shout the boat when you want the people to come up, hurry up and get a boat? Let's hear it, Theodore.
Say boat, and then you knock the pipe, kang, 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 kang. So people will be running.
So that's
Hold
how
the
people
boat,
know.
hold the boat.
How you guys do it? Let's hear you. Just pretend as though the audience they're about to miss the boat. Let's hear.
Boat, come there. Bang, kang, 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 kang.
Sound for a moment as though you're in Parliament. All right. So you're originally from Linden, not Poker Street, because it seems as though all the politicians are from Poker Street side.
Me, no, I'm not from Poker Street. I'm from Half Mile, born, bred Half Mile. I have family links, the entire Linden community. I have family in every one of these communities
Gotcha.
because, our family is stretched wide across Linden and Region 10.
Absolutely. So nobody messes with Theodore Adams. Let's go to Shoy Gibson. Shoy,
Yes.
welcome to Straight Up. Tell us a little bit about you. Georgetown, Linden, where? Borbies, Blackbush, Kokwani.
Well, as you know, my mom is from Linden. She's from Mackenzie. They're just the Jardine family. My dad is on Sussex Street. He's the Gibsons. Um, my mom migrated to Georgetown and she grew up in Georgetown and then she left. My family left and they migrated here to New America. And the rest is history. And our family is large, Mark. So we're all over Guyana. We're in
Absolutely.
every region. We have a very big family.
Indeed. 17 minutes after 8 o'clock. Wayne Caesar. You guys already know Wayne from Plaisance. What part of Plaisance, Wayne?
Yeah, Mark, Prince William Street, between Public Road and the Line Top. I think Aubrey Norton lives kind of obliquely right in the area also.
Yeah, so you are from
Pleasant is a strong East
Yeah.
Coast village with its strong values and everything. We had our cinema, we have our market still. We have our little clubs. Back in the days, we used to have like Profit. Now we have the Line Top, and Pleasance is always alive and well.
All
So
right. Thank you so much for letting us
yes,
know where you're
big
from.
up to Pleasance, all Pleasance people. Big shout out.
Big up to Plaisance. Oh, this is Straight Up. It's Friday evening. Michelle on Washington, the attorney, she will join us. She's also from Linden. Gosh, interesting night. And good evening to all members of the audience. Rhonda Lane, Sherwin Green, Yvette, lots of folks. Sean Jenner, Daniel King. We can't call all of your names, but we welcome you every night right here on 107.1 FM. Karen Clark, Brenda Braithwaite, Brenda Casey, Lynette Nelson. I noticed Wayne Caesar is also in the audience. Good evening to you, Wayne Caesar, in the
Good
audience
evening,
there.
Mark, again.
Keith Beresford. Guys, we are basically here to talk about a lot of things, but more so, we want to touch on heavy emphasis on the opposition. And this is not a program where we bash the opposition or there's any personal gripes with any member of the opposition. What is being done here tonight is basically from a constructive standpoint, and we want to see the opposition do well. We want to see them in areas where they're lacking. This program is about to ensure they get their acts together. Before we get right into the show, just remember that there's a rally against high cost of living at Burnham Basketball Court, Middle and Carmichael Streets in Georgetown. And we're seeing here, according to this flyer, it says here, um, Guyanese are worse off under the PPPC. I repeat, Guyanese are worse off under the PPPC. That is so true. And so, as we prepare to ask our questions, the panel, uh, those on the panel, sorry, let's go to this ad first, and then we'll be right back.
Oh, Jesus Christ. If cost of living double, I don't know what happened. A pound of sugar is $300 already. Flour, everything gone up. Everything just raising. You gotta get about $40,000 for buy good ration. You gotta get 3 man now. A weekend man, a monthly man, and a fortnight man.
And she forgot was a boat man. A boat man. Miss Troy Gibson, again, welcome to
Yeah.
Straight Up. Take the first shot at that in terms of cost of living. And we see here on this flyer, the APN UAFC flyer for this event coming up on the 20th, not tomorrow,
Mhm.
following Saturday. It says,
Yeah.
Guyanese are worse off under the PPPC. You heard that young lady in that little clip just now. Let us get
Yes.
your take on what's happening from your standpoint.
I think it's sad, appalling, and ridiculous. We cannot say that we are oil state, we are oil country, and our economy is not matching our wealth. That doesn't make any sense. There's no reason for oil country, and we're more than an oil country. This is what I need people to understand. Ghana is just not oil. Ghana has bauxite, we have sugar, we have timber, we have gold, we have diamond, we have rice. We're we're wealthy. There's no reason that we should be having a woman making an audio saying that you have to have 3 men in order to go in the market to put a proper meal on the table for you and your children. That's absolutely ridiculous. But yet you're parading around the place saying that we're an oil wealth country, but we have poverty stricken people. That doesn't make any sense. That math does not add up.
The math doesn't add up at all, and all of us agree with you on that. Mr. Theodore Adams, thank you so much, Ms. Gibson. Mr. Theodore Adams, the math is not adding up. Cost of living is high. I know you're a frequent visitor to Guyana. I mean, you go back quite often. Uh, what is the take on the ground, other than what we're hearing? Lots and lots of people are complaining about the cost of living. Your take, please, sir.
Yes, Mark. Cost of living in Guyana is way out of line with the persons or the people's earning as such. What you're earning cannot cannot support a family, cannot support you for a month. And for that reason, not only that I go back there, even as I'm here, we have persons in our inboxes. They're sending messages of the hardship that they're going through for help. They're afraid to speak up because they might be chastised, but they're facing a crisis. It's like it's not you're being paid a wage in Guyana to buy food stuff in America because the prices for food is like American prices, and your wage can't afford that kind of thing. prices. So on the ground, it's crying out. The persons that are not wealthy, not making it, or not getting contracts or these kind of stuff, they're crying out bitterly, and something needs to be done about the cost of living in Guyana right now.
Something definitely needs to be done. This is supposedly an oil-rich country. The majority of the wealth going out of Guyana, and whatever little crumbs that remains there, it goes into the hands of the corrupt PPP regime. We saw some roads. It's not even something that we can describe as roads. Look at look at the stupidity today, or just recently. This is the bypass that is, I believe it's Agricola side, Houston. Sorry, oh, same area. And this is what happened today. This happened today. Look at this. Supposed oil-rich country. The wealth, they're stealing it. Every single day we see examples of that. Mr. Caesar, you heard Ms. Gibson, you heard Mr. Adams. Your take on the constant cry by citizens in the country about cost of living going up every single day.
Well, Mark, Shoy and Theodore would have just eloquently um, said it so perfectly that I'm going to just add what I think needs to be done. Now, when we look at the value added tax, we looked at it last night. It's 14%. That needs to be around 7%. All right. Listen, cost of living is through the roof. And we need to give Guyanese some sort of a tax break here. Next week is budget week. Like I said, you know, there should be a stimulus package in place for Guyanese, no less than 250,000 per household. Look, people are struggling, and as Shoy said, oil has done absolutely nothing for Guyana, and that should not be. You're seeing a lot of infrastructural work being done, and a lot of these buildings are owned by PPP operatives. So, you see where the money is going, and then a lot of the money is also going offshore, which is totally ridiculous, to individuals' bank accounts and amongst other things. And the Guyanese people continue to struggle, and cost of living continue to rise as inflation continue to rise also. But salaries, you're not seeing that direct relationship between salaries and inflation and cost of living, because people are being forced to face inflation and cost of living with the same salary. And the government, the installed government, is doing absolutely nothing. They're not looking at any way that they can give breaks to Guyanese. Look at university, for example. They said they're going to look at it. That should be absolutely free. We should be using some of the oil revenue to subsidize that. And the same should be done when it comes to value added tax and us, changing it from 14% to 7%. Something needs to be done for the people of Guyana. Theodore is correct on that. Something needs to be done. The government is not budging. So what do you do, Mark? You have to change the government. That is what has to happen here.
All right, 28 minutes after 8 o'clock. And good evening to those of you who are now joining us. We are just talking about the situation, talking about the cost of living. It's just sky high. It's so unfortunate that a beautiful country, but yet billions upon billions of dollars being stolen by corrupt politicians in Guyana. This takes us to the question in terms of the budget, Shoy. They have the budget debate. The budget is going to start as of January 15th. Every year we see this sort of thing under the PPP regime, billions upon billions upon billions of dollars, but yet nothing goes to the ordinary people, nothing goes to civil servants, nothing goes to the ordinary man and women out there who have to ply a trade just to make ends meet. What is your take on this budget again, taking into consideration right after the budget, the PPP still goes back for billions and billions of dollars. Your take on expectations, please, on this budget.
Uh, First thing, what a prevalent day that they're going to the National Assembly. That's a big day here in New York. That happens to be my hero's birthday, Dr. King's birthday. A freedom fighter. He fighted for justice, racism, and equality. And it's sad to see what Guyana is going through. These people are going back to Parliament to do what? Are you going to correct the wrongs that's in the country? Right now, we have three major wrongs. The economy is not right. The education sector is dwindling. It's just dwindling. Um, the healthcare sector is just receding. It's to the point that you people are smuggling people into the country, doctors and nurses, to take care of people and giving them wrong medication. Why? There's no reason for that in this big prevalent country. Now, if you're going back to the National Assembly to say, I'm going to ask for money to make our civil service workers feel prevalent, to make our seniors comfortable, to bring our education sector up to speed where it's supposed to be in the 23rd century, where our children can learn and be where they're supposed to be, because one of these kids are going to be the next president. One of these kids are going to be the next mayor. How are we going to? How could we expect these from these children if they don't have the proper tools and we're not investing in them? You're just going to the National Assembly, what? Just to keep ripping the treasury? That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. And the country is suffering.
Certainly, Ms. Gibson, it doesn't make any sense at all. We'll pose that same question to Mr. Theodore Adams Jr.
Yeah,
Right after budget, the same thing. They go back for billions upon billions upon billions.
yeah, Mark.
What are some of your
Um,
expectations, please, Mr. Adams?
well, Mark, what I have seen from the past, this budget that will be coming in 2024, I think it will touch $1 trillion.
Wow.
For 2022, I think it was $553 billion, and I think they went back for money. For 2023, it was 782 billion dollars, and I think maybe they went back for money. What I can expect and what I know is that we're gonna see lots of money going in there again for a dead sugar industry, and that money, I know that will be going into that sugar industry. That is money for campaign. That is money for campaign. What I do not expect to see in the budget is a further raise for public servants or a raise for persons can live a comfortable life. I don't think I will see any the exemption raising for the ordinary man. They will still be taxing you and taxing the hell out of you. I'm not sure how many of the taxes they if they will remove on additional items for the VAT. But Mark, there's not much that we can expect for the ordinary folks. What we're gonna see more for infrastructure, because you have to remember, around the world, for corruption, infrastructure is one of the catalysts where corruption happens. Construction is very, very easy. That's where you find the Italian, the mafias and all them. They're involved in construction, and there's where a lot of money is siphoned off for different reasons. So we'll see the infrastructure boom as normal. As you know, we welcome infrastructure, but my thing is you're gonna put infrastructure into a country, do it well that it can stand up for a long time. And what I'm seeing happening, it's we're having some roads. They call them roads. They're actually little bikeway path or a little one-way path for one vehicle. It's not being done well that it can last you 5 years. I know next year we're gonna have to put more money back into those same constructions that we're doing. So, Mark, I'm not really optimistic. too much. All we're gonna see, as I say, is more money going into infrastructure, money going into housing, because these are the areas where the money gets, siphoned off and going to friends, family, and persons in business and all this kind of stuff. But the ordinary man will see nothing from this budget to come.
Well said, Mr. Theodore Adams. I'm glad that you gave the breakdown as to the years. One year it was almost 700 billion, another year 500 plus billion, and this year you anticipate that it's going to touch or maybe over $1 trillion. That has to do that they're going to waste a lot of money. GDF needs this, GDF needs that. You mentioned Gaisuco, billions of dollars into Gaisuco that the PPP killed. But let's hear Mr. Wayne Caesar's perspective on the budget briefly.
Okay, so Mark, we have to remember when we talk about a budget, it's merely a budget. The money is not yet allocated anywhere. So they're just setting a static budget. All right. What they need to address is the health sector. They need to address education. Cost of living needs to be there. I know Theodore is not too optimistic about cost of living. Neither am I. Neither am I. Okay, because the PPP does not really care about the Guyanese people. Okay. Nurses and teachers needs to be taken care of. Also, our discipline services. We also need to address in this budget, I would think for sure, GPL and GWI. The Guyanese people cannot continue to drink coffee for water. This can't continue to happen. Blackouts every single day. And one thing Theodore touched on also, infrastructure, yes. Yes, there's going to be a lot allocated and budgeted for infrastructure for two things. Infrastructure can be used for corruption and does. Is a major player when it comes to corruption. But also, they're building out the infrastructure to also attract the foreign financiers that's coming into Guyana and buying up everything, while ordinary born and bred Guyanese has to stay on the side and look on. And it's interesting that the budgets, they just keep getting larger and larger. And what's happening is that we have these budgets, but you're not seeing where the monies are being allocated. We cannot source the monies. We need to be able to source the money. There need to be certain ledgers, where we can source the money. What's happening with the money? The PPP is not being transparent with that. They say they just take everything and throw it into a consolidated fund. Well, here, that consolidated fund, man, is robbery. That thing is robbery. From the time I hear consolidated fund, man, that's trouble right there. Because they pool all the money in there, and then what happens is that we don't see where the money goes. Look, 94.4 billion was allocated to education. And what we had? 20 beautiful young souls in Guyana, born to death in Maria, schools burning down, 48% dropout rate in the country. So, Mark, budget day, it doesn't mean anything unless you're executing, and the PPP have no idea what it means to execute, especially when it comes to the Guyanese people. So I am not optimistic. I am not excited. All I know that's happening is that they're going to walk into Parliament with their 1-seat majority and get the budget passed.
All right. 38 minutes after 8 o'clock, the budget issues, cost of living, everything is helter-skelter in Guyana. Ms. Gibson, let's get your take on the attack of freedom of expression, freedom of speech, and the fact that they just want to curtail that. They want to persecute individuals who have an opinion that's different than the corrupt PPP regime. Your take on how detrimental that is for democracy.
First of all, that is sad. Um, we're in 2024. The last time I looked, Hitler died. Democracy is prevalent. Um, Dictatorship does not work. Um, when you dictate, you don't make your people love you. You make your people hate you. You make your people don't want to be with you. You make the people want to run. They're going to run. And they're going to run into different things just to get away to taste what freedom is. Why you cannot express how you feel in this day and age and not have to be penalized? Because what? I don't understand that. So you're telling me I am not allowed in 2024 to say that you are not doing a proper job, you're not facilitating a proper job, you're not governing for everybody. I'm going to be persecuted? Well, I'm sorry. Because I know whoever holds office, whatever party holds office, you have to govern everyone. Those who voted for you, those who did not vote for you. You have to govern everyone. You have to take their constructive criticism. I remember the day after David Granger became commander in chief of the country. An Indo-Guyanese lady was in town with a hammer, calling him all kind of lewd and nasty names. Nobody chastised her, nobody jailed her, nobody did anything to her. So you're telling me people can't express how they feel because they're frustrated? That's disgusting. Something's wrong with you and your administration.
And when Miss Gibson say you, she really means this guy. She really means this guy. And I agree with her. Something is definitely wrong. Mr. Theodore Adams, your take on the attack.
Mark, Guyana Constitution, I think it clearly states, except with his own consent, no person shall be hindered in the enjoyment of his freedom of expression. Everyone is free to express themselves without hindrance, to receive, to communicate information, to share information. As long as it's not damaging or harmful to somebody else, something that is not true. But if you're speaking the facts, you're sharing information that everyone in the nation needs to know, then I don't see why and why they're attacking that. It's either that the truth hurts or the information that I share will make someone wiser to think of you different. So you try to restrict my media of sharing or my means of sharing this information. You might be able to send threats. You might threaten me. You know, Mark, I've seen so many people that are threatened by this. But for me, I speak what I see. I analyze for myself. I raise awareness, and I'm free. I travel to Guyana whenever I feel. Anyone feel to they are free to come arrest me. They're free to throw me and lock me up for a year, 2 years, maybe 5 years like you. But Mark, I'm gonna come out. And the day that I set foot out, then there will be another issue, you know? So I am not fearful of anything. I have lived my life. I have demonstrated goodwill to my fellow man, to my friends, to my family. I try to encourage and help others. I try to be a social leader to others. And in doing so, I must be able to disseminate information that is, that will guide persons to prosperity, to happiness, to joy, to their family, to them and their families. Right? So I am not scared of the threats, but it is wrong. You cannot stop persons from talking, sharing information, and especially information that is true, that is correct. If it's not true, show me where it's not true, and then we will understand. If I say something that is not true and you give me information, give me the facts, I will say, okay, it's not true, I'm sorry. But until then, you can't show me the facts, what I'm saying, and I got the information, then it's true, and I will continue to share that information.
Thank you so much, Theodore. And those of you who are now joining us, good evening. Welcome to Straight Up. We are talking budget. We are talking about the high cost of living and the threat, the fact that free speech and freedom of expression are under threat in Guyana under the corrupt, the installed PPP regime. Mr. Caesar, I know you've touched on this on numerous occasions, but your take on, in the event that some other new ideas came to mind, how Jack Deere and the PPP attacking press freedom and freedom of expression.
Well, you see, Mark, people are upset, okay? And our constitution, as Theodore would have pointed out, says that, people have a right, it is a democratic right to be able to speak freely, to be able to share information freely, to be able to protest, you understand me, peacefully, okay? The PPP is trying to infringe on this right. Why, Mark? Why would government do this? Because government is fully aware that they are wronging the people. They are fully aware that they're wronging the people, and they have no intention of righting those wrongs. So therefore, they choose to shut the people up, shut the people down. Remember, Mark, we now have social media. So when people, get upset and they want to speak out against government, it's not just staying within the confines of Guyana. The world can now see, and that is bothering this installed regime. Listen, Mark, they have never seen a revolution like the one that is currently ongoing. Social media has brought the entire world to the party now. For 23 years, these guys sit down, and this monster grew and grew and grew. Well, now the people are standing up and they're ready to conquer the monster now, and they don't want that. So hence the reason they're trying to shut people down. But Mark, it will not work. It's people's democratic right. There's no way Barry Jagdeo can stop anybody from talking. Who the heck is Barry Jagdeo? Who is the PPPC? What people got to understand, though the PPPC was installed, is that government is elected by the people. So if the people put a government in place, you understand me, to run their country, are you telling me that the same people who put the government there can't question the government? No, come on, Mark. That would never work.
All right, 47 minutes after 8 o'clock. All of the problems in Guyana, lots and lots and lots of problems. All of our panelists are making valid points on all of the issues. I want to ask this question here now. With all of the problems that we know that's happening, we see it every single day. We hear about these problems. Thousands of people experience, whether they're PPP, PNC supporters, they experience those very problems on the ground. How effective, Ms. Gibson, how effective is the opposition in confronting this corrupt PPP regime to highlight these problems and to expose and to next elections get rid of this PPP regime?
That's a good one, Mark. I'm still taking some notes, and I'm still questioning some actions that I am seeing. But what I would like to see is a strong coalition We all come together, do what we have to do to get the job done, because right now we're in a political war. And I don't think the Guyanese people understand that. I'm not going to even talk about coalition. I'm going to talk about the Guyanese people right now. I don't think the Guyanese people know how imperative of a political war we're in right now. As Wayne just graciously said, if you don't go and cast your ballot, these persons cannot hold these seats. And I find that either side of the aisle, when you put them in there, you just can't give them the whole plate. You have to keep their feet, you have to keep the fire under their feet to make sure that they're doing their job and execute their job well, so you can be served properly. What I would like to see with the coalition, I would like to see all my MPs um, out in all the regions, going door to door, introducing themselves, listening to what the people need, talking to the people, because it's imperative that the people know who they are. So just not when it's election day, then I know who you are. Let me get a feel for who you are and let me know what you're doing for me and what you're going to bring to my constituency. We just had local election. All the local election and nominees who are nominated, get up, get on the ground, go in your areas, meet with your people, hear what they need, see what they want, come back, have a meeting with the leader, meet with the leader. I know he's a man, he likes to walk about, he likes to go in the areas. Get him to go in the areas, meet with the people. We have to come out and we have to get on the ground and work with our people. This is the only way we're going to know what is really going on and what the people want. We just can't guess or be told. We have to be on the ground. That's what we need to be, on the ground.
On the ground, indeed. Theodore, you visit Guyana quite often. Uh, how much more should the opposition be doing in confronting these ills? As we welcome Shellon Washington, attorney at law. Good night, ma'am.
Hi, good night,
Good
everyone.
evening. Good evening.
Mr. Adam?
Mark, yes, Mark.
ahead.
The opposition need to do 100% more, because I don't think they're doing anything right now. They're doing nothing. You know, me walking around Linden, every time I go to Guyana, I actually try to mingle in all the communities to get a feel of what is going on. I do not hold a party card for either of the parties, but I'm very much concerned about my residents, especially in Linden. I traveled, you know, the entire eastern side, going Berbice and all those places, because, as you know, I might have some links in Limlear village. I go straight over to Quarantine and all that, stopping at Belladrum and all this, and listening to on the ground, people on the ground. It's horror stories. The opposition, as when Mr. Norton got in there, he made pledges. He said they're going to go into the community. They're going to revitalize their base. They're going to create businesses, small businesses for their people in their communities and their stronghold. None of that came to pass. None of that. They're gonna keep training programs, training our young people into business, into politics, into this, into that. None of that came to pass. We have Linden there. You call it the stronghold of the People's National Congress. There's no footwork being done there. And first and foremost, I was never optimistic about Mr. Norton's leadership in the People's National Congress. From a young person, I grew up in Linden. As you know, I would have been at the Adams Ferry service for almost all my life. Bailing boat and trying to pick up 10 cents. There's my pocket piece. And I've heard Mr. Norton, he went to study, came back, a political scientist, but looking from the groundwork, and that is what I want to know. How do you choose leaders? Mr. Norton has no footprint in Linden. What I've done in Linden for my people. What can I show the people in Linden? I've been coming there, I've been doing this, I've been doing that for Linden to show them a way out. We haven't seen any of that. You see a couple of the MPs in the opposition that are active and are running around. Other than that, there's nothing substantial from the opposition. They're not tackling the real issues of their people. They're not standing with the people that are in crisis at this time. They're not standing with them. They're not coming to their aid. They're not coming to their rescue. They're not showing up to say that we are with you. Maybe our hands are tied, but we are with you. They have to show face. You can't make a change in the system, but at least you have to stand and show face. Mobilize your people. Go to the offices, go to the ministry with your entire contingents and stand there with your placards so that you send a message. That is the only way they're going to be effective. And the people will now understand that, you know what, the opposition care about what's going on. But for now, Mark, no one have that confidence in any one of the opposition. They just think it's just the next day election is gonna come, who win. We still are in the same situation. Whether they go in or not, we have the same issues to face, and who is gonna look after these issues for us? Nobody is gonna stand with us. So I'm not too optimistic.
Thank you so much, Mr. Evans, for your opinion. And it matters who is in office, because 23 years of dictatorship, 23 years of punishment, corruption, drug dealing, all manner of stuff, gold smuggling under the PVP regime. It wasn't easy. People saw a breath of fresh air to a large extent under the coalition, and to repair the damages done by the PVP for 20-something years. It wasn't an easy task at all. I like to oftentimes mention these sort of, while folks are entitled to their opinions, I noticed Mervet is saying, Duncan is saying, y'all need to stop bashing the opposition. Look, this is a democracy. This is not a program where you come here and people must be afraid to have an opinion against the opposition. And when you have an opinion, this is the sort of silliness. They describe it as bashing. No, the opposition needs to get its act together. Ms. Washington, I know you are dealing with a lot of divorce cases today, because Ms. Washington's office, she deals with a lot of these things. If you slip and fall, if you get tenants problem, whatever it is, landlord problem, go to Shalon Washington's law firm. She's pretty busy, so she texted me to say, I'm a little late, Mark. Ms. Washington, good to see you. The opposition, is it doing enough to confront all the ills we're seeing in Guyana by this corrupt PPP regime? Your take.
Yeah, first I want to say good night to everyone, all the listeners. Good night, especially to Ms. Brenda Casey. Good night to you. Based on what I've been seeing in the news and even on social media, because obviously we're not there, we're relying on information coming from other parties. And based on what I've been seeing, I would definitely say no. Guyana is at a pivotal point in history. Somebody's phone is echoing. But Guyana is at a pivotal point right now where we're at the verge of thriving economically, or we should be, but we're really not, because oil was discovered in that country. And we're also at a point where we're at the brink of, we don't know, war or whatever it is that lies ahead of the country. But the most important thing is Guyana needs a savior. We need a savior right now, because I don't think the opposition, and the opposition must take this with strides. We're not trying to bash anybody here. We're trying to give constructive criticism so that hopefully the opposition would listen to what we're saying and take this and try to turn it into something positive by putting in place whatever measures they need to do sufficient for the people of Ghana. If you're not acting now, if we don't see your works now, what are you going to do if we elect you and put you in office? We have to see your works now. And I think when we look at Burkina Faso, we look at Niger, we look at Ibrahim Traore, who is now leading one of the most wealthy countries in Africa, and we see what transpired, and we see how he's saving that country practically. We think about that in terms of Ghana needing a savior, somebody who could stand up, somebody who has backbone and can pull the economy together, pull the people together, and to do something more in a positive light, not for themselves, not for the government, but more so for the people of Ghana, because we have been seeing for the 20 odd years that the PPP has been in power, that nothing is being done for the people. Whatever is being done for Bar Jagdeo and his friends. It's being done for Afanali and his friends. And we're not seeing enough of what needs to be done for the masses, for the people. And I think that's where Aubrey Norton or whoever decides to be the leader of the opposition should be going out, boots in the street, do things, actual things. Let people see that you're trying. Let people see you're having your press conference every time Bara Jagdeo goes weekly. You counter that. You have to be the face of your party. You have to actually do the work. If you're not doing anything, the people of Ghana are going to say, well, we don't really see Aubrey Norton. We don't really see this person. Every time Bara Jagdeo makes something that threatens the liberty or the economy, no one stands up. And I think Guyana needs a savior. So whether it be to remove Aubrey Norton and put somebody who's stronger and able to pull the country together and able to get things actually done and remove the PPP from office, whatever it takes, we need a savior there.
Thank you, Ms. Shalon Washington, attorney at law. Let's go as we save Mr. Wayne Caesar for a quick moment. Let's welcome Mr. Jason Benjamin. Good night, Mr. Benjamin. And let us get your take. I'm sure it's going to be a little bit different, but it's okay. Let's get your take on whether the opposition is doing enough and whether Mr. Aubrey Norton is strong enough. Your take, please, sir.
Okay, thanks. First of all, good night to the audiences and the panelists. I want to just open the statement by simply reminding us of the words of Malcolm X, who reminded us that education is the passport to the future. For tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. With that said, I am of the view that there is much more that needs to be done by the opposition party. It's not a one-man show, and initially we can say maybe from the inactive side, whatever is unfolding behind the scenes need to now put on skin, as we would say, and really get action. Because in my opinion, I think that the opposition would run the risk of failing to listen to its electorates. I think that aspect is critical. And should they listen or consider the message coming from the electorate, they would know that in truth, they are not doing as expected when looking in. And so I believe that much more needs to be done in that regard. Specifically to the comrade leader, Mr. Aubrey Norton, I know he's a strategist, but of course, people would have embraced his stewardship at the time when he was more vocal, and that would have been you represented by what you say, actions. This time around, what we're seeing is not what the people would like to have. So on this forum, I'm just going to use this opportunity to remind him that he needs to do better. If not, step aside and let someone who can do the job go forward. But together, PPP is bad business for Guyana. If the opposition really wants to win elections, they have to unite or go as a united front to tackle the corrupt PPP regime. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Mr. Jason Benjamin. Mr. Wayne Caesar?
Yes. Mark, I think there's a lot more that the opposition can do. And I think what they need to start off with is to have a very strong vision. Okay, a vision for Guyana, a vision for its people. And then they need to have unity. Everyone need to rally around the leader. You have a leader, rally around him. Because listen, together we'll stand, divided we'll fall. Okay? So there needs to be unity. Thirdly, education. Okay? The MPs, the central exec, everyone, party needs to be on the ground, edifying the people of Guyana. Rallying up the troops and getting them ready for elections. Letting the people know what is actually happening in the country, because a lot of people in Guyana work very hard and sometimes cannot keep up with the news and keep up with everything. Fourthly, they need to be consistent. Okay, sometimes you see MPs on the ground today and you don't see them until 2 months later, right? So they need to be consistent. And lastly, they need to execute. If they execute, Mark, this would all work out close to perfectly. But you have a lot of division in the party. When you're the leader, there's a lot of pressure on you, because as a leader, you're expected to lead. But in leading, you're not going to always have a dominant position. You're not going to always have leverage. Sometimes you will have to sit down with your MPs and take time to explain things to them. This needs to happen. Leadership is not just about leading people, but it is about spending time. And when you have MPs and you have young MPs, you have to spend time. Over to you, sir.
6 minutes after 9 o'clock, Miss Washington, as we go back to you, cost of living is high. Now we are seeing the opposition is prepared for some action. After all these years, some action. The budget on the 20th, that's not tomorrow, but the following Saturday, they are going to go out there. And we urge folks to go out, yes. It says here, Guyanese are worse off under the PPPC. We all know that. This is something that we knew since the PPP was installed in 2020, August 1st of 2020. What is your take on this whole cost of living issue? Bread and butter is under threat. All manner of things on the threat in Guyana. And the fight back isn't there. It's not. Where is this lack of energy coming from, Miss Washington?
People are usually motivated by their leaders. And we've echoed that during this panel discussion, that the leaders, well, Aubrey Norton and whoever else is there, they need to do more to speak up against the cost of living. If the cost of living continues to rise and no one says anything, then the government will continue to monopolize on that. They'll continue to raise it, and no one will say anything until it's already unaffordable, because as we know, the average person cannot afford a lot of the food items or groceries in the market. So people have got to come out. They've got to protest. They have to speak up, like let the government know that this is unacceptable. Guyana has oil money. The government could offset the cost, the inflation, some of the inflatable costs. The government can offset that, and that happens in a lot of countries. When the cost of living starts to go up, you see the government steps in and they take steps to bring the inflation back down, so that the cost of living could become affordable again for the people. As you can see here in the US, inflation has been fluctuating back and forth, and the government has always stepped in and taken measures to bring the inflation back to a rate where the ordinary person can afford it. And as you know, Mark, right now, inflation is pretty high still in the United States, but the government has taken steps for those who we consider, working class. They've taken steps to provide subsidies or food stamps, whatever is required to keep those people afloat. And if that inflation continues to go up again, government needs to step in, take steps, bring it down, or subsidize, hand out hampers, give money. The last time they gave $40,000, I don't think $40,000 could buy anything for anyone. They have to do way better than that. Maybe they could give something monthly for people who are below a certain income level. There's so many things that could be done to offset that inflation to the average family or the average household who just can't sustain based on what's going on in Guyana. It's ridiculous. Guyana is producing sugar, yet sugar is unaffordable in a country that is producing something. I mean, the farmers are farming, but the prices are going up. I mean, it's ridiculous what's happening in Guyana. It's shameful. It's disgraceful. Yet the opposition don't have the people in the street. They have to motivate the people to get out, get up and get out, because your own life is at stake. If you can't afford to feed your children, what you're going to do? You're going to let them starve to death? They have to get out in the street. The leaders must motivate people.
I agree with you 100%. The leaders must motivate people. In just about a minute, Mr. Benjamin, but before we get to Mr. Benjamin, Ms. Gibson, let us assume Mr. Aubrey Norton is watching right now, the leader of the opposition. Of course, Congress is due or overdue. They should have had Congress for now. That aside, with all of the problems that we're seeing, and probably not seeing all, but people want a better opposition. That's a fact. What message do you have for Mr. Aubrey Norton, who is the current leader of the opposition? What message do you have for him to do better?
You're muted, Ms. Gibson.
What I would say to the leader right now is let's call Congress. Let's get Congress going. It's time. I think that the people can't say it anymore. The people are yearning. They want to have their voices heard. And I think the only way to make everybody comfortable at this time and the people's right, have Congress.
That's all?
Have Congress. And, you are the leader. You're the leader of the party. And people are looking up to you. And we need you to come out. We need you to come out more. We need you to meet with the people more. And we need more action. The people are asking for action. The people need you to lead them to victory because you are the leader of the party.
All right, Ms. Choi. Mr. Adams, your message to Mr. Aubrey Norton as leader of the opposition, if he's watching. Choi says that there should be Congress right now and that Aubrey Norton should call Congress. Your take on, or your message to the opposition leader?
My message to the opposition leader: you cannot take the heat in the kitchen. Just step aside and let the next chef cook or KitchenAid take over. It's been too long with no movements. No movements from you, the opposition leader, to lead your bases all across Guyana. There's no leadership. Everyone is running helter-skelter. There's no leadership. You're not bringing the people together to say we are in this together to fight for our own survival. Congress, I think it was due from last year. So I don't know what is the lead delay. It should be called, and if the people decide that they want to choose a new leader, then so let it be. But we cannot wait until the last minute. This is 2024. If elections are due in 2025, when are you going to prepare for Congress to change leadership in order for that leader to get familiar with the situation and go forward? You know, so we have to hold Congress now, or if you cannot run the House, step aside and let someone else take the position to run the House.
All right, Mr. Adams, your take there. You know, we see some very short-sighted views. Cyril Walker said PPP has delayed its own Congress for more than 7 years. Why bash Norton when the PNC Congress has been delayed for a few months? You see, that's the problem. Because
we
it happened,
operate in a democracy, Mark, and
because
if
the
we
PP
want to be in a party with have democracy and democratic values, we have to hold Congress when it is due.
Yeah, so
That's the
because the
only way.
PPP, because that happened to the PPP, we must just do the same as the PPP. Come on, guys, you can do better, Mr.
But we're
Miss.
but we're not the but we're not the PPP, and see that's the problem. It's too much monkey see, monkey do.
And exactly, and that's why we have some short-sighted views by some individuals who feel that this
And
program should this show is a pro PNC show. It's not.
and
I
let's get
as
this
I
and
as
let's
owner
get
of
this
the I as owner of the station might be pro opposition, but it doesn't mean every night it's got to be pro PNC pro. They got to get some licks as well. They got to wake up. So you guys stop. You guys stop with this emotional thing. That is why we are where we are, Mr.
I'm
Jason.
not here I'm not here bashing my leader. I'm here telling my leader we need to make it right and we need to make it stronger.
And that's what a few of them, that is what they in the audience need to know. That is what they have to realize. This is not a bashing about anybody. And you see, that's the problem with this so-called democracy in Guyana. The first thing when you speak out, they jump in some rabbit bag and they pull out the word bash. Oh, bash. Oh, bash. Give me a break. Mr.
And this is
Jason,
why people need to understand what democracy is and um what democracy is, what democracy stands for. Freedom of speech, freedom of expression. If you don't express yourself, how are you supposed to grow?
absolutely. So I almost addressed you as Mr. Jason Caesar. Sorry about that, Jason. But Mr. Jason Benjamin,
You're hitting very hard, but nonetheless, the issue is about the opposition, so I'll stay focused. In my
yeah,
opinion, I believe that in truth, that failing to prepare is preparing to fail. And to you, Mr. Norton, um, you may have good intentions for the country and for the people at large, in truth, because I recognize clearly where the coalition's motive is it's people centered as compared to the PPP being more infrastructure and ways to siphon off monies, of course, corruption. But not because you are privy to these kind of information mean you must just sit back and allow the corrupt PPP regime to sling itself with its own rope. We also need to intensify that pressure, and that pressure can only come from conviction. And so here is where I personally am pleading with you to let us see, let the people, we the people, see that conviction to the fight. The reason being is that you have the capacity to do the work, but in truth, the character is what people are looking for to inspire confidence. We need your presence on the ground. And if that is too much of a call for you, then, as Martin Luther King Jr. would say, the time is always right to do the right thing. If not, you do the right thing. Call Congress and let's settle it. If you are re-elected to that position, then Amanza, Roy Steele, and everyone should do the right thing and support all of us come together and support the leader. But at the same time, We will not follow blindly by. And to those who are short sighted in the party, now is not the time for gimmicks. This is your future and the future generation to come. One false move, and that's it. You're out of it. And so I am pleading with you also to reason sensibly, look around you and see. And if Aubrey Norton is anywhere close by you, you make your request known, because now is not the time to pussyfoot. We need action. One message the corrupt PPP understands is pressure, and they move by that pressure. They already apply economic apartheid on us, and guess what? The country, the people, we are suffering. The time for that is over. So, for Guyana to grow, the PPP must be voted out of office. And in order for them to be voted out, Comrade Aubrey Norton, you two must display that conviction to the fight and let your request be made known. Once you make that mark, others will follow. Again, your character must inspire confidence. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jason Benjamin. I appreciate that. And I appreciate all of the comments. We were reading some of them. We can't just read all. But let me just say this matter of disclosure, that Mr. Aubrey Norton, the opposition leader, and I had a very cordial discussion this morning. And for those of you who believe that this is a bashing of Aubrey Norton, this is not a show that will bash anyone in the opposition. We constructively criticize individuals and offer a constructive opinion. And so I just want some of you diehard ones out there. I don't know if you're in Guyana. I don't know if you guys have a party card. I don't know if you guys vote, when last you guys voted. But I have expressed I vote, mind you. But Mr. Aubrey Norton and I had a very cordial discussion this morning. As always, we speak often. So this is not any bad blood that Mark doesn't like. Mr. Aubrey Norton, I speak very often. I just thought I'd make that point clear to you guys who think that this is a show to bash Mr. Aubrey Norton. Certainly not. Mr. Norton will be on this show sometime in the new week. I will announce to you guys when that time is. Mr. Wayne Caesar, very briefly, if Mr. Norton is watching, what would be your message to him, sir?
Well, my message to the leader of the opposition would be, listen, the PNCR has a constitution, and the constitution says that, Congress should be held biannually. Okay? If your party has a constitution, you want to start off by respecting that constitution, because, when you do take power, and if you're the presidential candidate, whether you're the presidential candidate or not, Guyana has a constitution that would also need to be respected. So I feel that, practice makes perfect. I feel that the Congress should be held. But Mark, what surprised me with the whole announcement that Congress will not be held, and this is what kills me with the opposition. The other contestants who was planning to contest to the leadership, they are completely mum. So what are people to believe? We just cannot look at Aubrey Norton when it comes to this issue. We have to look at, others in this also. Where are they? Why haven't they said anything, that they disapprove of the decision? No one is saying anything. That's why last night I would have thought through, and in thinking, I thought it was a decision that was made by the party leaders collectively as a unit, as part of a strategy, because no one is saying anything. Everyone is silent. So while I feel the Congress should be held, I agree the Congress should be held. It's in the Constitution. I disagree with everybody pointing their hands at the leader, because it's not the leader alone you blame on this. There are others who should be blamed in this situation also. So, Mr. Norton, I would say, go ahead and let the Congress be held. So there would be no discrepancy. You win, then my expectation would be that all MPs and the entire party rally around you because you would have win fair and square. And if that is not going to happen, the people who are not going to rally around the leader, you don't care about the Guyanese people. And to be honest, you need to disappear. Over to you, sir.
Miss Washington, as we prepare to wrap up tonight's program, I know we want to leave the Guyanese people, especially those who support the opposition and those who are walking away in large numbers away from the PVP, the corrupt PVPC. Do you see any sort of hope for Guyana, especially with this billions of dollars of oil wealth? And if so, how optimistic are you that we will see that change of government to have a far better government in place than these corrupt ones?
You know, Mark, I'm always optimistic. There's a saying that the world is a stage. Everyone is an actor, so they're all acting. Everyone is in on the secret that we're all just acting, except you, of course. The people who are observing, they don't know everything is just an act. And I'm saying that to let people know that what you see playing out in Ghana, it's all an act. Everything is staged, everything is planned, and they're people bigger than all of us who are controlling the government, controlling things. But things can always change, as you can see what happened in Africa with Burkina Faso and Niger. You've seen it. You've seen that changes can come even in the worst scenario that you can think of. And sometimes it comes at a cost. It comes at a really high price that sometimes people can't afford to pay, but it comes nonetheless. So I'm optimistic. I've always been optimistic that at some point that there will be changes in Ghana. And it doesn't matter how Bar Jagdio paints a picture to the world that he controls everything and he's the master and he controls all the puppets, including Afrin Ali. Things can change in one day. It can change in a year, it could change in a month, or it could just change in 1 hour. It will change. Doesn't matter how long it takes. But one of the driving forces of changes that people always have to keep in mind, it's you. You're the driving force behind any change you see that will happen in Ghana. You got to keep that in the forefront of your mind. You have to think about it. You have to pray about it. You have to act on it because nothing happens without actions. So even if you sit in a church or you sit in a synagogue or you sit in a temple, wherever it is, and you're praying about this, you must follow through with your actions. And once the people of Guyana are of the realization that they can change this, they can take back control of Guyana, of our economy, and boot the wrongful government out of office and put somebody there that you believe would best serve the interests of the people of Guyana, it will happen. So they just need to keep this at the forefront of their mind that they are the changes. Guyanese, you are the changes. You are the driving forces. You make all the demands that you need to see in Ghana. So think about this and knowing that the people are the ones who could advocate for this, I'm optimistic and I will remain optimistic that someday, Guyana will change.
Thank you so much, Attorney at Law Shalon Washington. Again, if you have whatever case you need, just whether it's divorce, and sorry guys, I'm just thinking of this divorce because I saw Francine Cruz looking for a divorce lawyer, and here is one, Washington. Shalon Washington is that person. She does more than just divorce. If you fall and you hurt yourself, I know Theodore Adams may have slipped a couple of times, medical malpractice, Jason. Whatever it is, give Miss Washington a call. I noticed a comment here, guys, from Cyril Walker. Cyril Walker is saying disaffected PVP followers will not join the PNC. And no one has ever said that. And we've got to be so naive to think that that would happen in large numbers. It doesn't mean that it's impossible. But the more PVP supporters stay home, the better for the nation. Mr. Adams, your closing remarks, please, briefly. Hope for the Guyanese people.
Okay. Once again, Mark and my fellow panelists, it's a joy and a pleasure being here tonight. As we all know that it's not a political panel as such, to say that, oh, we are bashing the AP and you are the leader of the PNC or anything. We are sharing our views. We are sharing what we observe, observations. I'm on the ground 3, 4, 5 times a year, and I know what I'm talking about. I saw someone commented about none of us can even take 5 persons to the poll. Well, I can tell that person, Mr. Conrad Austin or August, that
Now, if it's
you know,
coming from
you know,
Conrad,
you know.
please. Today is
No,
tonight.
I
is
can,
Friday
I
night.
can, I understand.
Highwine, wherever
But-
August is, Conrad is right now. Highwine is galore. For that one. August-
Right? You know,
That's weird.
I not a card bearing member of the People's National Congress. Mark, I think the last election I went on the same plane that you was on, right? I end up at a polling station running people all over the place to vote, picking up people all over the place to vote, whilst they are in the polling in their command center with a 5-year-old and having a nice time. I was the person picking up people to take to go relieve a scrutineer who is calling them that I want to go to the bathroom and I can't leave here, and they're thinking they don't have anybody. As a person that say, you come, you're a scrutineer, I'm going to pick you up at this place and I'm going to take you to the scheme school. I was driving doing
one
that.
of the things, Theodore and others, is that some of these guys who feel that this is all just talk. I know you and I went back on the same flight. You were busy in Linden. I was busy in Georgetown. I think I saw Jason in Guyana as well. People are doing their work, taking at the last minute minibus loads upon minibuses of people to go and vote. And that's why I'm saying forget about the likes of a Conrad August. He was
Yeah.
busy in Atlanta.
Anyway, Mark, what
That's
I
all.
know
That's all.
we expect the budget. I know that as I said before earlier in the beginning, I don't expect anything much for the small man. I hope that our opposition will unify themselves to hold this government accountable. Stand and demonstrate, show the people, because if the opposition, they're all fragmented right now, the people will not come together because you're not demonstrating that you're together. Everyone is talking from a different side of their mouth, and there where we have a problem. So the people are just laid back, waiting for a true leader that can come forward and unify them so that we can move forward, or they can move forward into the next elections. This election that has gone is over, and they are still lamenting now about things then. You have to look to the future now. Look for what is happening now to your people. Try to safeguard them and try to get them preserved to go into the next elections. And I want to say good night to everyone. And Mark, thank you for having me here among this distinguished set of persons here tonight.
Mr. Adams, let me just say to you that I appreciate your platform and for edifying the people and all these different things, and also for your bravery. I salute you for that, sir. Continue the good work. And just
Thank
before you go, Miss Adams, Miss Washington may have missed that. But can you do that call the boat? Because she's from Linden as well. How you call the boat again?
Boat! Hurry up there, boy, hurry up there! Kang, 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 kang. Pipe knocking.
That is what we got to do for the elections, to call for vote. So instead of saying vote, can you say vote?
Vote. You say, vote! Kang, 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 come vote!
Thank you. And that's the kind of hope that we want to inspire. That is why the opposition, they got to get their acts together. We're here to help them. We're not here to bash them. You guys don't be narrow-minded. We're not here to bash them at all. Your closing remarks, Ms. Gibson.
My closing remarks. Good night to all the panelists. It's great to see everybody. What I'm looking forward to for the 2025 elections, a strong, unified coalition All of us put our foot on the ground. We go out. We get the people. The people are happy. They're ready. They're ready and they're eager to vote because they know why they're voting and what they're voting for. And let's just get our boots on the ground and let's get it going. It's time. It's time for a change. It's time to take these people out of the oppression and to uplift them. It doesn't make any sense to say we're in an oil producing country, but you have people oppressed. That doesn't make any sense. And why do we have a woman making a live talking about having 3 men just to put a proper meal on the table for her and her children? But yet, when you open your mouth, we're in an oil producing country. I am not here to bash the coalition. I'm here to make the party stronger with our criticisms so we could go back to the table and come out fighting because we're fighting to win a war. If you people don't understand it, look at it. We're in a political war and we got to win the war. And that's what I want from my leader. We have to win the war. I am not a loser. I am a winner.
Thank you. And that is why those little people, probably I don't know whether they voted, I don't know where they are, but bash. Everything for them is bash. But we still love them. We appreciate them. Y'all don't bash this lady, please.
Oh, Jesus Christ. If cost of living double, I don't know what happened. A pound of sugar is $300 already. Flour, everything gone up. Everything just raising. You gotta get about $40,000 for buy good ration. You gotta get 3 man now. A weekend man, a monthly man, and a fortnight man.
And a boat man, and a tax man, and a man who was the president. They gotta get a boat man. There she's smiling. Mr. Wayne Caesar, briefly, please, sir, your closing remarks.
Yes, Mark, and I'm going to be very, very brief. It was a great pleasure spending time with this panel. This is a great panel. Thank you for bringing us together, Mark. Look, all I can say to the Guyanese people is that this is a war. This is a fight. Okay, and this fight is not just carnal. This fight is spiritual. And I would like to call on Guyanese because this is a major pastime of our ancestors. Our ancestors prayed a lot. They were very, very faithful people. Okay? And I've always made the statement, sometimes we gotta take 10 steps backward in order to make 2 big giant steps that's gonna cover more than those 10 steps that you would have taken backward. We need to pray for the opposition, pray for the leader of the opposition, pray for the MPs. They need prayer. Yes, it is okay for us to come out and voice our opinion. And I believe that our opinions tonight was great constructive criticism. And I hope that it has been taken seriously and people would have been taking their notes because I think that there were some excellent points that were made here tonight. Points that once executed can bring great hope to the people of Guyana. The people of Guyana need some measure of hope. My brothers and sisters, in Guyana, I know that you've been through a lot. You've faced decades of oppression, but I feel that the end is very, very, very near. It's in your grasp. Let's pray, let's call on that Heavenly Father because it's needed. Thank you, Mark. And it's a pleasure being here.
Thank you
Good
so
night,
much.
everyone, also.
Appreciate it. 38 minutes after 10 o'clock in Guyana. Thank you all so much. But Mr. Jason Benjamin itching. He's itching because he knows that he needs that final say. And very briefly to Mr. Jason Benjamin. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, with that. Yes, we can. Yes, we will. And we must win. To you, Bharat Jagdeo, guess what? take this. For Guyana to grow, the PPP must be voted out, will be voted out. And to you Guyanese people, guess what? The power is within our index finger to make that difference. Empower one another, walk around and call upon each other. Just like how Teeter Adams would shout, vote and vote. You call, vote, encourage one another. We need to hold the line. We need to stay united. And it's not a self-personification or any aggrandizement. It is us. It is protecting the future. It is ensuring that going forward, the public servants and every Guyanese citizen gets an equal portion of the cake. Again, for Guyana to grow, the PPP must be voted out. And to you, Bharat Jagdeo, when the change comes, you will be charged with treason for your corrupt activities. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jason Benjamin. Appreciate it very much. Mr. Wayne Caesar, we all saw that. Thank you very much, Mr. Wayne Caesar, Mr. Boatman Adams.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark.
Hardworking folks out there in London. Ms. Shoy Gibson, thank you so much. And
Thank you.
the lawyer that Miss Francine has always been looking for and talking about some divorce. That is Miss Shellon Washington. Thank you so much. But before you guys go, I want you guys to listen to this, please, and go out and support.
So this is attorney Shellon Washington, owner and founder of the Washington Law Firm, located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you. So call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.
Thank you so much, Ms. Washington, as well. All of you guys, wonderful indeed. And thank you, Mr. Jason Benjamin. I have to look at it. Thank
you very much. Thank you, guys, and have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Members of the opposition, if you're watching, Mr. Aubrey Norton and so forth, we wish all of you guys a great weekend. Thank you to all of our viewers as well. Samuel Williams, Rastaman, the whole crew, all of you. Shondell William, those who agree, those who disagree, it's okay. We want to see better. We want to see better in a stronger opposition. And sometimes those of you who have kids, you don't tell me that when you pick them up from school. I was picked up from Wellington Park Primary School under quarantine, and you get licks and you get blows, and your parents chastise you publicly. Hey, you're that, and all manner of things, and you got to walk the road. You got to walk the road, and that is what happened to the opposition tonight. We will give them some opportunity now to try to get themselves together, and also wherever help is needed. This is not just about talking and not offering help. We don't do that here on 107.1 FM. We talk, we criticize, but we offer help, and a lot of times behind the scene as well. And so you guys don't get ticklish. Those of you who have gotten ticklish, don't get too ticklish. Please don't. In a democracy, these things are necessary. All right, I've got to go now. I'll be back maybe over the weekend, maybe on Sunday, who knows, because Monday is budget day. But for now, God bless all of you, and God bless that beautiful country that is being taken for granted by those corrupt politicians, Bharat Jagdeo, Irfan Ali, and the crew. So long, guys.
Yeah, my name is Jacinti Caldata from City, Vietnam. And since 1965, I become a voter. And I always place my X next to the cup. And what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data.
Oh, Jesus Christ, if cost of living double, I don't know what happened. A pound of sugar is $300 already. Flour, everything gone up. Everything just raising. You gotta get about $40,000 for buy good ration. You gotta get 3 man now. A weekend man, a monthly man, and a fortnight man.
Basement level vibes with another one straight up with another one straight up. Blackness I who tell the truth. Mark Benstock, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benstock, radio station is the truth. Mark Benstock, straight up from the root. Mark Benstock, who tell the truth. Mark Benstock, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benstock, radio station is the truth. Mark Benstock, straight up from the root. Mark Benstock, I do it for the love, him not do it for no money. Straight up, him attack, educating everyone. Big up my friends and big up my family. Turn on the radio, catch the vibes, it's integrity. Straight up, Benstock stands for unity. One people, one nation, one destiny. Free up the truth in the air, even the blind can see. The deaf can need it, don't contact, the truth can walk. I who tell the truth. Mark Benstock, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benstock, radio station is the truth. Mark Benstock, straight up from the root.